So, yeah.
All right, welcome everybody to another edition of Learn Photography with Duck. As always, I am your host, Duck, and welcome everybody. We got some new faces here today. Well, not new faces, but new to the group, new for joining us. Thank you guys. Um,
Can I give a plug, or do you prefer I do that?
what? Sure.
Okay.
All right. Hold on, let's,
North Haven Camera Club, first meeting is September 9th, Hope Christian Church, 411 Montagues Avenue, North Haven. And at this meeting, several people will be showing their winning photos and will be explaining what technique they used, and it'll be open for discussions and critiques. We have a new president. Joe stepped down after 6 years of doing excellent work, Joe and Darlene, and Joanne Hiscox is the new president, and I am publicity director again. So you will be hearing me on these Zoom calls mentioning North Haven Camera Club.
Awesome. By all means, if we can get ears on the group. Your group is awesome, by the way. That's probably one of the most active ones in the state of Connecticut. So
Charter Oak is active too.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
CTPPA can use a lesson from you guys. CTPPA is a thorn in my side, let me tell you. Want to mention Mark Buelsing. Did I pronounce Buelsing? I don't think I ever asked
better
you.
than most.
Better than most. How is it pronounced? I never asked you that.
It's Buell Singh.
I did say it right. Okay, Buelsing. All right, he is from Ohio. He's tuning in from Ohio. And I want to give him a shout out because he is a software developer, web designer, kind of like a little jack of all trades. And he's working on this piece of software. I hope you don't mind me mentioning it. That is designed specifically for judging photo competitions. And he's given me a little peek behind the hood a couple of times. And let me tell you, it's pretty impressive what he's built. Can't wait to see that go live and really work out for you. So, but anyway, welcome, Mark. Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
Also want to welcome Robert. He is joining us from New Britain, a little closer to home. And as you heard, he's in cahoots with the Art League of New Britain. Which, as you heard, I'm going to be giving a presentation for coming up in the near future. I also want to, I didn't get a chance to write them down in my little notes. And of course, I was going to open up my cell phone so I can get the dates. And that's how I figured out. I do not have my cell phone with me, but let me pull up my calendar real quick. Because I do have a couple of events coming up that I want to plug, and in September. The first one is Wednesday, September 10th. Now, these two workshops are through PPA, the national PPA, not the local. And I'm doing two one-day workshops for PPA here in Connecticut. They're live workshops. They're a full day from 9 to 4. The first one is, like I said, Wednesday, September 10th, and it is on creating and photographing the exploded view photographs that you've seen me, show off on occasion. I kind of walk you through my entire process of how to get the exploded view from figuring out, what angles you're going to present the product in, and how to rig it so that when you overlay all the composites, they all line up fairly close, and making the editing process a little bit easier. All right. The other one is on Sunday, September 14th, also full day. And this one is the pricing and the cost of doing business and pricing calculator workshop that some of you attended on Zoom, like last month. So if anybody is interested in signing up for any of those, you have to go to ppa.com. I will be posting them on my events page on Facebook, so I'll have the links for those as well. But I did make 2 posts on, I think, my Facebook page, not the Learn Photography. I can't remember. One of those I posted it, so there are links, but I'll make sure that you guys get the links. Okay. And that's pretty much it. In November, let's see, is it November? Yeah, November. I will be doing an adult ed program up in Thomaston. So if anybody knows any, beginners in Thomaston, the Thomaston, Plymouth, Bristol area, I'll be doing something with the adult ed beginner class up there. So that's it for what's coming up. All right. I want to thank Alan, because he kind of bailed me out today. I've been working all day today, so I didn't get a chance to really prepare anything, right? I was helping out a buddy of mine doing some architectural photography. So here I am, I'm rushing home, and of course there's accidents all over the place slowing me down. And then I get a message from Alan, says, "Hey, look at my little composite that I did, you want me to send you the files?" So I go, "Oh my God, Alan, you're a godsend, because now I'll have something to do tonight." So thank you, Alan. So what I'm going to do, let me launch Photoshop first and find where I put the files you sent me. Of course. Here they are. Okay. Desktop. Oh, and for those of you, this is like an example of one of the exploded views. You've probably seen this in my portfolio. But Mark, I think I've showed you these too, right? During the
Yeah, I've seen those.
Tuesday.
Looks good.
All right. And of course, this one's my favorite. That one there's client work. All right. So here's one. And let's put that in. There's the other one. Okay. So go ahead, Alan. Explain to us what it is that you did and what you want me to do.
Well, I mean, I took a stab at it, and I put that shot right there, overlaid it on top of the other one right there,
Okay.
and put it in that space right there, so that they're looking at each other and one's talking to the other. They were shot on the same day. They weren't shot, well, they're shot with the same lens, but not the same settings.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already at this point, I've already gone through Topaz denoise, Topaz sharpen, and
Okay.
maybe even gigapixel to get them to this point. And then I went back and I did the same thing. I put that shot right there, overlaid it on top of the other one right there, and put it in that space right there, so that they're looking at each other and one's talking to the other. They were shot on the same day. They weren't shot, well, they're shot with the same lens, but not the same settings. So I've already at this point, I've already gone through Topaz denoise, Topaz sharpen, and
Okay.
maybe even gigapixel to get them to this point. Okay, and most of my stuff goes up on Facebook, so it's close enough.
Right,
I don't do competitions, I don't do any of that kind of stuff, so, my audience is pretty much, Facebook or, and such.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Go ahead. Piss off Mark.
Well,
Because you don't do you don't do
no, but
competitions. He's building this beautiful judging website, and you tell him you don't do competitions. That's it.
No, I shoot for myself, I don't shoot for judges.
Yeah. You know what? You're probably better off anyway. Okay.
So anyway, that's what that's where we're at.
Awesome. What we're gonna do? Let me just put these two kind of side by side here. All right. And now, typically, as you guys know, I typically come in from Lightroom. I'll do some pre-processing stuff in Lightroom before I even get it into Photoshop here. But because, these are your files, you kind of sent them to me, I just dropped them into Photoshop. So the first thing that is obvious, okay, because you guys know what's the mantra, look at the images, what is wrong with the image, and then you correct for what is wrong, okay? Or what you identify as being wrong. All right. And the first thing that comes across as being and I think I gotta find a new word, because wrong is really not the correct term.
Inaccurate portrayal.
Well, not even inaccurate, but yeah, that's probably a little bit closer. But it's what's not fitting into the final vision. If we can come up with a word that explains that. All right. So anybody want to throw one out as to, all right, keep in mind that what we want to do is we want to create a composite of placing the bird that's on the left into the scene with the bird that's on the right, and we want to match them. We want to make them match. Okay. So what's the first thing that is different between these two images? Just yell it out.
Bird on the left missing a lot of feather detail. It seems like the picture's just sort of I don't know, a little muddier starting off than the.
It's been denoised, Brian.
Oh, okay.
So it's the denoise in there. But I would go with balance off on the color, contrast in color, and bring the sky up, whatever.
Well,
there-
actually, not contrast so much. Color. Okay, well, color, I wouldn't even say color is off either. All right.
Size, you're
Well,
gonna have to
Yeah,
deal-
I'm actually looking at these two and seeing something far more obvious. And that's the exposure difference. All right. Because if we look at the color of the beak on both birds, if we look at the white of their head, the colors are pretty much dead on. Look at the feet. Okay. This one here, I think, is probably a little bit more saturated than the one on the right, but colors are good. Okay. If we look at the greenery, all right, colors are there. Okay. What is different between the two is, oh, come on, is, what the heck? Where's my pen go? Where did my pen go? All right.
Any other
Look
picture
at,
that's there.
all right. Now, no, this is not an indicator, but it's a clue. All right. We can see that the sky is a lot brighter on the one on the right compared to the one on the left. Now, if we compare the feathers along with that clue of the sky, that lets us know that we are underexposed. Okay. But if we look at the head between the two, okay, mind you, the one on the right is against white, while the one on the left is against, a cloudier sky. So that tends to throw the perception off. But even with that, we can see that we are a little bit underexposed on this one. Okay. So one of the things that I would do right off the bat when coming in from Lightroom is, while I have both of them side by side in Lightroom, what I would do is I would balance the two out to be fairly equal in color balance, in exposure balance, and in contrast balance. Okay, I would try to get that together as much as possible before importing them in to do a composite, but it's neither here nor there. All right, so what we can do here is we can go filter, camera raw filter. All right, you can tell I never use camera raw here. I always come in from whatchamacallit, from Lightroom.
If you're looking for white balance, it's under color.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with the color balance. The white balance is good. All right. What I am looking for is to get the bird. Let's see if we can get this so that we can kind of sort of. What I want to do is I want to get the bird facing forward. I guess we will call it bird facing forward, bird facing backwards. All right. That'll be the differentiator. The bird facing forward, I want to match as much as possible to the bird facing back. All right. So I'm going to look at things like, the exposure on the head, little bit of the contrast, although not much. And, let's see, shadows. Okay. All right, that's looking fairly good. We'll hit OK. All right. And will it let me Control Alt, copy. Let's see what happened. There it is. Come on. Control V. There we go. Oh, the sizes are different too, aren't they? Okay. Oh, you know what? Before I resize it, let me bring the opacity down. All right. So that way, as I move it into kind of sort of in place, we can kind of see. All right. We want to make these two about the same. All right. Okay, and lock that in, bring the opacity up, Control 0. All right. Okay, so we've kind of placed them both where, we think they'll work good. Okay. One of the things that I looked at is obviously the perch. Got to make sure that this kind of lines up with the tree branch that the other bird is sitting on. All right. So it doesn't look like for one reason this bird's kind of floating in midair or something, right? And the other thing is, which is not too critical, is you have this hanging down into the scene. And as I was placing it, the first thought that came to my mind is, that's gotta go. Okay. And if we let it go, then that means that I can probably cheat this bird up and make him a little bit bigger. All right. Now, the reason in my mind for making him a little bit bigger than the other bird is only purely for the reason that he, and I'm saying he, it could be a she, because this bird is facing us. So that puts this particular subject, the dominant one, all right, because he's open to us, where the bird on the right has his back to the viewer, making him a little bit more subordinate. Okay, so now if I make the decision to get rid of either the pine cones or that whole section of branch altogether, then I don't have to worry about crowding his head and making him a little bit larger. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Okay, all right. Bring the opacity up. Now, the nice thing is that we have some advanced tools that we didn't used to have. All right, so what I need to do at this point, I want to remove all the distractions around this bird. All right, and in the past, it meant getting rid of, creating a mask and getting rid of all that stuff. We're still going to use a mask, but now what we're going to do is, with our taskbar, we're going to use the select subject, okay? And my guess is it's going to select that branch. Whoa, I am surprised. It did not select a branch, okay? But we're going to zoom in here. All right, as anytime I have Photoshop's AI do any work, I always come in and double check. Now, I know that this lower section is probably going to get obscured by the existing branch from the other image, all right, which is there. So I'm not too critical. As a matter of fact, that whole lower section of birds is going to disappear, okay? But typically I would just clean this up if need be. And, it looks pretty darn good. Okay, pretty darn good. Even so, these little feathers on the side. Okay. We might have to do a little bit of cleanup for some of those feathers, but we're good. Okay. Once we have our selection, we're going to go ahead and make a mask. And he's dancing and floating in midair, doing nothing. Okay. But we can see that he's looking a little bit softer than the other bird. Okay. Let me zoom in here. Okay. If we see the feathers on the chest compared to the feathers on the wing, it's day and night as far as sharpness and as far as contrast goes. Okay. So we'll need to do something with that as well. Okay. Now we can try sharpening this bird. Let's see. Filter. Unsharp mask. Actually, you know what? Here. I'm going to hide this. And I'm going to hide. I'm going to hide the mask for right now. I have an action and all it is a high pass sharpen. I'm just going to run a high pass sharpen on this layer. Let's see, 2. Let's go to 4. Okay. Let's see, the command make. It's not okay. There we go. All right, so let's zoom in. We're not going to get the same kind of sharpening. As a matter of fact, there's some really weird artifacting going on here with your image, Alan, that I don't think there's before, there's after. You can see that it did some stuff, but there are areas that are very clearly very soft with no detail. So if there's really no detail, there's nothing there to sharpen, okay? You need to have something there for sharpening to take effect, okay? And when something is too soft, you're not gonna pull that sharpen, okay? So if we can't bring the subject to where we need to, then that means we have to take everything else and drop it down to the level of our subject. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. We're going to put a thumbtack onto this sharpen layer. We may need it. We may not. We will revisit. Okay. Let's bring our mask back in. And bring our bottom layer. Okay. All right. I'm going to make a duplicate layer of the bottom layer. Okay, duplicate layer. All right, and this one here is the one that we're going to soften. All right, and what we'll do is we'll just filter. We're going to create we're going to convert it to a smart filter. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I need to share my screen so you guys can see it better. You guys didn't yell at me. You got to yell at me for these things. All right. To enable. Yep. Okay. All right. So basically, by converting it to a smart filter, anything that I do to this layer is going to be able to be undone, all right, or redone as needed, okay? So smart layer, let's go back to filter. We're going to do blur. We're going to try a Gaussian blur for now, all right? And what I want to do, let me cancel this for a second. What I want to do is I want to match the softness, okay? So I'm gonna keep this one active, but make sure that the layer you want to soften is selected. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, all right? And what I want to do is I want to kind of match the two a little bit. All right, so I think probably around 4, maybe 3.5. Let's give that a look. The nice thing is that we have a live preview. Okay. All right, and we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And because we're doing this as a smart layer, we are also getting a built-in mask just for the smart filters, okay? So what that means is I can invert, all right, Control Command I to invert that, okay? And with a nice big soft round brush, I'm going to go opacity to about 20%. All right. So the number 2, 20%. Why is that? There we go, right up there. Opacity 20%. And make sure that white is my foreground color. So if you see colors here, letter D will convert it to black and white, and the letter X toggles between the two. Okay, so X toggles. All right, everybody see that? White as my foreground color, and I'm just going to touch a little bit on the wings. All right, because if you notice, the body of the bird on the right is very soft. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make the body of this bird kind of sort of match. Okay. Let's make this a little smaller. Hit that wing. Okay. If you over blur something, just switch your mask to the opposite color. All right, maybe a little bit here on the head. Now they're starting to kind of sort of look a little bit more alike. Okay, a little bit more alike. All right, bird on the right is a lot more contrasty than the bird on the left. All right, so remember I have my sharpening layer that I disabled. Let's bring that in, and what I want to do is I want to look at what it's doing to the head. Okay, now remember we applied it just to the bird on the left. Okay, and we do have a mask there already pre-built. So I'm going to go ahead and with black, all right, black as my foreground color, all right, I want to mask out the bottom part. I just want to keep the head, and for that we're gonna bring the opacity up to 100%. Okay, and I just want to mask out all of this. All right, the reason being is the talons are already fairly sharpened on this bird, so we don't need to add any additional sharpening. Okay, and then if need be, what we can do is we can reduce the opacity. And what I want to do is I just want to look at the two heads together and kind of wait till they kind of sort of match about the same. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. All right, while we're working with masks, let's go ahead and on the mask for the bird, I'm just going to mask out the bottom part. We don't need that. All right, because we're going to be blending it in with the foliage in the foreground that's kind of hiding his feet anyway. Okay, make sense? All right. Okay. They're starting to look a little bit closer together. All right. I think they're still a little bit too contrasty, so that's kind of bugging me a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a curves adjustment layer, and I'm going to throw that right above, right above the eagle on the right. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to bring my blacks up just a touch. All right, doesn't need much. As a matter of fact, let's bring it up, and then I'm going to create a point here and then just kind of, oh, that was weird. All right, there we go.
I put the two raw files into that same folder. So at the end, if you want to go into that folder again and pick up the raw files just to see what I started with.
All right. Well, we're here, so we're doing good. All
Oh, yeah,
right.
no, that's fine, but I
So-
just, for comparison about everything else, but no,
Yeah.
looks real good. Thanks, Doc.
No problem. All right. See, now the bodies are looking more uniform together, like they belong. All right. Except we're losing a little bit. Where's my blue? Oh, where's my draw? You know, there we go. This head is looking a little bit darker probably because of that curves adjustment. All right. So let's see if we can use the same curves adjustment. And oh yeah, see, that's all right. So it's not going to. All right. So we have a mask. Let's get a brush. Black is our foreground color, and 100%. And we'll just bring back some of that head. And the eye is looking very, very contrasty. That's probably the thing that bugs me the most of this one. All right. So we need to lighten up that head. So I'm going to go ahead and make another curves adjustment. And you guys know curves adjustment layers are my favorites. All right. Now, this is a global adjustment. Notice that it's doing a lot to everything from where I place that layer and below. Okay. All right, so it's going to apply it to everything, but what I want to do is I just want to pay attention to the head. All right, and I want to see if I can get the head on the right looking kind of sort of like the head on the left. All right, I don't care about anything else. All right, so I'm looking at the yellow of the beaks. All right, and if I need to create another point, all right, for the white, okay, or if you want, you can use that little adjustment symbol here, okay, and click that, and what it'll do is anywhere you point here, it's going to adjust, all right, and then up and down as needed, okay. All right, but that's looking a little bit better. Let's see, can we get, yeah, see that yellow is literally right here. All right, why isn't it? Let's do it here. Okay. All right, we've made a total mess of the rest of the image. That's okay. All right, why? Because we have a mask. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to invert that mask. All right, and while we have this panel open, we just click the invert. Big, well, actually not so big, but a soft round brush, white as a foreground color. What we're going to do is we're just going to paint in the lightness onto the head, just the head. All right, everything else looks good. All right, and now they're starting to match. Okay. As a matter of fact, you know what? I might even go back to that soften layer where we added the blur effect and white as my foreground color. Let's make this, all right. I'm gonna bring my opacity down to about 20 and I'm gonna soften it just a touch. There we go. Now that's starting to look. Let's zoom in so you guys can see how this is starting to equalize a little bit. Okay, can you see that? All right, let me let me see if I can, here's before, after. Actually, let me group these three. Control group. Before. See how contrasty and kind of crunchy it looks? All right. After. All right. We softened it up a lot in order to match the new bird we brought in. Okay. But that's okay, because after we're kind of done matching them together, we can add another layer on top of that and see if we can bring some of that texture back. Okay. All right. Any questions to this point? We've done a lot, but not really, right? Okay.
Chuck, I have a question.
Yeah.
I guess that's the forward-facing bird, the one on the left.
Yep.
Now, you cut that. Can you go back in a masking way, do anything more to that, like take stuff out, put stuff in, or is that
Such
it's a done
as,
deal?
well, the short answer is yes.
Okay.
But such as what?
Well, the thing I noticed when you had it glued in there is that looks like there's a big V cut out of the back of his head, and it looks like it might have when it masked it wrong. It just kind of looks weird.
Oh yeah, huh? Okay. Let's go to the mask. No. It's there, but good call. All right. So what can we do to fix that? All right. We can do a nice little patch. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it is. It isn't a mask. Never mind. Never mind. Brush. 100%. Let's make that smaller. White as my foreground color. Let's bring that out. Let's see what happens. Yeah, no. See. Yeah, there's something there. From the original.
Okay.
Okay. But let's try that patch again. Okay, looking a little better. Okay. But yeah, good eye. I totally missed that one. Okay. All right. The bodies are looking pretty decent. The luminosity on both birds are looking pretty about the same. We can probably brighten up the guy on the left. We could probably brighten up his head, but we also need to tackle down by his feet. Okay. So let's go here. And what I want to do is, in order to bring his feet in, or bring the needles in and kind of hide the feet, it's going to take a little bit of back and forth playing. Okay. Because if we look, it's obvious that, he's not on the twig. All right. So there's a couple things we can do. All right. We can, for all intents and purposes, we can lower him down, but I kind of like him on the higher level than his brother. Okay. Again, I want the bird on the left to be the dominant one because he's facing towards us. All right. As compared to the one on the right. Okay. But we need a place to start. So let's find a place to start. So I'm going to hide this layer. Okay. And the thing that comes across right now is we have a lot of sky behind the needles here, which is great because now we have something to contrast against that's going to make creating a selection easier. All right. So what we're going to do is, the way I normally do this is I will use the magic wand, tool, okay? And using the subtract, where are we? Using the subtract, let's see. Is it? It's not letting, okay. There we go. I'm just going to, oh, wrong layer. See what happens? Make sure you are on the proper layer. We need to be on the layer with the bird. All right.
Doug, I have to go. I'm sorry I'm leaving
Yeah,
early,
no problem.
but
Thanks
I
for
will
joining
look
us.
forward to joining you again much
Yep.
sooner than the last time.
Yep. And I'll keep an eye out for those documents, okay?
Okay, thanks.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks.
Bye all.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to select all these little areas. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna switch back to the additive, all right, because that's gonna make it a little bit easier to select multiples. All right, so anywhere I see some of that white, okay. Now, you're probably looking at me and saying, wow, that just seems like such a hassle clicking on all those little areas. And it is. So let me show you a different way, okay? Deselect, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to go to select, okay? And we're going to click on color range, okay? Color range, select, color range, all right? And right at the very top, we have, we can make a selection by color, okay? And below that, you'll see we can also make a selection based on highlights, midtones, and shadows. And then below that, we have skin tones, okay? And if that doesn't fail, we have the eyedropper. But I'm going to go with highlights because we have this nice contrast of sky, which is, you know, fairly light against the tree and the bird, which are all fairly dark. All right. So that's going to give us a nice mask. And when we preview it here, you can see that that's a pretty darn good selection. Okay. Now, I'm just interested in this is a selection here, all right? I'm just looking for the marching ants, okay? Because the marching ants is going to allow me to do some manipulation to the mask where our foreground bird is, all right? So we'll bring that back, okay? As you know, we already have a mask, okay? And for those of you who don't know, it's Alt or Option, and then click on the mask. It gives you the mask view, okay? So let's zoom in here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to, we're doing a, where the two masks intersect, okay, is where I want to create an overlap, all right? But I have to be careful with what parts, okay? So if we bring this back, we can see that we have a branch. Where's my... We have a branch that kind of goes behind the bird, all right, and comes out on this side. So all of this here, you know, we have to be careful with how we overlap it. This part here, all right, this is the stuff we're concerned with because these are the pine needles that are going in front of the bird's feet, okay? So keeping that in mind, what I want to do is I want to just make sure that I just work on this part, everything from that line down. All right. Hopefully you guys can see it on the screen. You see the marching ants, right? Okay. All right. So Alt Option, click on my mask, brings me back into the mask view. I'm gonna select a soft round brush. Make sure that black, all right, black is your foreground color. X will toggle between the two. Oops. X, all right. And then, oh, guess what I failed to do? Everybody see the problem? Let's undo that, undo that. We want to turn this area black. All right, so what do I got to do? I have to invert my selection. All right, so select, inverse. All right, and now when I paint, now I'm painting in the correct area. All right. And here I have to be a little selective. All right, and that in essence is going to eliminate or not eliminate, but hide the bird's feet. Oops, I got to be careful here. All right, that I don't go too far. Okay. All right, once we have it there, we can come back out. I'm going to deselect, Control Command D to deselect. Okay, and if we want to, we can double click on our mask and we can either soften it here, all right, but I have to be careful because the rest of the mask looks pretty good. All right, so the problem lies just in this area here. All right, so coming into the mask properties isn't going to do anything. So let's cancel out that. We're going to go back to our mask, Alter Option. And the one tool that I hardly ever use, the blur tool. We're going to go ahead and select that. Doesn't get a lot of love. You have to be careful. All right, I got strength here at 30. Let's make that 50. So the number 5 brings it to 50. And I'm just going to kind of sort of give it a quick paint over. Okay. I just want to remove some of the crunchiness. Okay. All right. And we're getting some haloing. All right. So that's going to create a bit of a problem. All right. Alt Option. We're going to come back in and let's try oh, come on. Cancel. Escape. There we go. All right. We need to sharpen this up a little bit. All right. So I'm going to make a selection. All right. Just a lasso. Okay. And from here, I'm going to double click on my mask. Double click. All right. And what that does is it effectively just says, okay, this is the area. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're just going to shift the edge. Will allow me. Oh, no, it won't. Okay. Never mind. It's not doing what I want it to do. All right. Okay, so how can we get rid of these halos? All right. The other thing we can do is reselect it. Okay, so Control Command, click on your mask, it reselects it. Select inverse, okay, and then with a soft white brush, we're just going to, oops, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. See, I did it wrong. Control, click. All right. Where am I? Am I on? Yes. Okay. We don't need to invert it. Hard to keep track of your selection sometimes. I'm just going to go very quickly on these very spindly needles. And what I'm doing is I'm painting back in white where the bird is, okay? And that's going to allow me to kind of get rid of all those halos. See that? Okay. All right. All right. We'll come back out. That looks a lot better. But we have this talon. All right. That's kind of just floating there. Okay. What I want to do is hide it. Okay. All right. But before we do that, let's take a look at what other things we need to do. Oh, we need to get rid of the pine cones above. That's going to be easy. Let's do that first. Okay. Lasso. I'm just going to do a loose lasso, and with my taskbar, all right, I'm just going to go here and where it says remove, I'm going to hit remove, and it should do a decent job of getting rid of those. Perfect. All right, let's see if that was enough. Yeah, no longer a distraction. Okay. Everybody see that? Easy enough? Okay. All right. I want to do the same thing with the talons. All right. But now we need to start paying a little bit of attention to our layer stack, because we have some things going on here that we have to be aware of. Okay. So for one, the way I approached this is I masked the forefront element from the bird. Okay. So what it means is this element here is actually supposed to be, if we were to consider it as a layer, that forefront element should be a layer on top of the eagle. All right. And then that eagle is on top of everything else. Okay. That makes sense, right? But we kind of did it a little bit backwards. Okay. Where the eagle is actually on top of this. And what we did was we just kind of removed the sections in between in order to hide the bird. All right. So it's a little backwards. Okay. Not that big a deal. All right. So we have to make sure that we are on top where we need to be. Okay. So I'm going to go all the way to the very top. I'm going to select my lasso tool. I'm going to draw that. And once again, I'm just going to hit the remove. All right. And see if it will remove the talon and kind of fill it in. Oh, there we go. Now it looks a little bit better. Okay. And if we wanted to, we can see about maybe, all right, this little area right here. Okay. Looks like it should be bird there. Okay. But not necessarily. It doesn't have to be. All right. So let's just take a look at how this looks. All right. Alan, this is your image. What do you think so far?
Oh, I think it looks great. That's kind of what I had in mind, but I just couldn't get to it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So at this point, you know what? For Facebook purposes, you know, that looks pretty decent for Facebook purposes. All right.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to I want to test it, see what happens if we add a little bit of sharpening to it. Okay. Now, this thing has been sharpened and unsharpened and sharpened and unsharpened to high heaven. So the more we mess around with this, the more it starts kind of destroying your image. So you have to be very careful. Okay. So that's typically any kind of sharpening would be the last thing I ever do to an image. Okay. Before going out, but let's give it a shot. All right, I'm going to do a clone stamp layer. All right, Control Alt Shift E. All right, or Command Option E for you Mac people. All right, make sure you're on the Control Alt Shift E. All right, and what that does is it gives you what's called a clone stamp layer. Okay. So if we were to take everything from there down, group it together. Come on, group. Where's my group? Why isn't it grouping? Control G. All right. I can't group. Why can I not group? Oh, because I have a group in there. All right. Let's ungroup that. And now try grouping it. Nope. Still won't let me group it. Why can I not group my layers? Selection, layers.
Control Alt E, yeah, should do it. Maybe you have to highlight all of them? No, you shouldn't have
Yeah,
to.
no, I know. My bottom layer was locked. Okay, there it is. There it is. I knew something was preventing me. Okay, so I'm hiding everything below this clone stamp layer. You can see that there's no effect. Okay, so a clone stamp layer basically copies everything, your whole entire layer stack into a single layer. It's the preferred method over just flattening your image. Okay. The reason being is that should you find something as you're working now, and you find something that, oh, I forgot to do such and such. Well, guess what? You can't go back and make that change because you flattened the layer. Okay? If you do a clone stamp layer, you still have your entire layer stack saved, that all you got to do is just get rid of that clone stamp layer, make your change, and then create a new clone stamp layer. All right, much easier. All right. That being said, keep in mind the more layers that you have, especially smart layers, all right? If you use a lot of smart layers, your system's going to start slowing down because smart layers are, think of it as a file within a file. Okay. So it eats up resources. All right. Takes up a lot of memory. In that case, if you see a noticeable decline in performance of your machine, then you might want to go through it and kind of be a little bit picky about which layers you flatten. All right. So, for example, this remove where I used the remove tool to get rid of the talon, all right, and the sharpen layer that I applied over the bird on the left, those three layers I can safely flatten and it's not going to affect anything. Okay. But I'm not going to do it at this point. I just want you to be aware of what your options are. Okay. So now I have my clone stamp layer. I'm going to come in. I'm going to use my high pass sharpen preset. Hit that. Could not complete the command because of a program error. What? What? Let's try that again. High pass. Oh, there we go. Woo. All right. Now, when I built this, I built the default radius to be at 2, simply because I don't like too much sharpening because it kind of gives it a little bit of a strange effect. All right. Just realize that the smaller your image size, the smaller your radius needs to be. All right. If you're working with, a 50 megapixel image, you might need to go to 4. All right. If you're in a situation where your image is too soft and you're trying to fake some sharpness in like small select areas that you're going to mask in, you can push it to 8. But above that, it starts looking weird because you start getting these halos. Because what is sharpening? It's a contrast along edges. All right, contrast along edges. That's why on this view, you can see that contrast edge. See how it's got dark on one side and light on the other? That's how it sharpens. Okay. It's just a contrast edge that is being applied. All right. So I'm going to say, okay. Changes it to an overlay. And let's get rid of that. Before, after, not much difference. Let's see. Are we gaining anything? No. Not much difference. Okay. All
Hey,
right.
Doc.
Yeah.
Got a question on that sharpening.
Yep.
Does it work okay, or is there a problem with putting that sharpening number up a bit higher than 8, but then managing it later with the layers opacity?
Yeah, I've gotten strange results. All right, because while technically that would be a solution, what happens is when you start pushing the number up a little bit too high. Actually, let's do it because 2's not doing enough. So I'm gonna redo this and go up to 4. Okay. But let's do 8. Okay. All right. See that halo? How much stronger it is? All right.
Sure do.
So let's go. All right. Now we can't see the halo around the head because we have light against light. Okay. Where you would see the halo would be. All right. Oh yeah, here. On the feet there. Okay. Right in here, you're seeing some
Pine
halo. All
Pine
right.
needles.
Yep. Well, that. No, that was kind of there. Oh, you know what? Ah, Da, 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 da. That's why. It's duh. Excuse me. Mental fart. I forgot when I built this friggin'. That's how often I use it, right? I have it automatically switch my mask so that I can paint in the effect. I didn't notice until just now. And it's like, why is my mask black? That's why. All right. So there, you can see the crunchiness. Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. Yeah, you can kind of, sort of. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's some haloing going on here. All right. Oh, there's lots of crunchiness going on here. Okay. Oh, I see halo there. Okay. Oops. All right. So yeah, you have to be careful. All right. Now, let me zoom into the head because that's where you can really see the effect. All right. So that was at 8. Let's bring the opacity down. All right. And you can see now it's at 30. All right. And it's starting to look a little bit better. All right. This is off. This is on at 30. So 30% opacity. 100%, 30%. So yes, it does work. All right. It is a technique. All right. But when, like I said, when you get your numbers a little bit too high, you have to really be careful. Where's my... You have to watch out for halos. Okay. That's actually not too bad. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay. All
Sorry, didn't know it was on.
right. All right. So yeah, that looks pretty good. And I'm actually happy with that little bit of sharpening. All right. I over sharpened it, brought it down about 20%. Let's go 30%. Yeah, 30% might be a little, well, yeah, not too bad. All right. And then, of course, keep in mind, we're working on a full-size image. When we reduce it and export, it's also going to apply a screen sharpening as well on your export. So keep in mind how much sharpening is going into your image. Okay. All right. That looks pretty darn good.
It does for not
Okay.
being that way in nature. It does look real good.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do one more thing. Let's zoom this out.
Alan, we'll leave it to you to caption this one.
Yeah. I'm going to create another curves adjustment. Okay. And I'm just going to, let's see, bring that down a little bit. Okay. All right. Now, again, whenever you do any kind of layer adjustments, it's going to be a global effect. Okay. What I want to do here is add a little touch of a vignette. So I'm looking at the corners of my image. All right. I'm just looking at, the corners of the image. I want those darkened down. Okay. So here in this corner, we have sky. So I want to make sure that it doesn't darken too much that it looks kind of like a little too strange. Okay. But because we are using a curves adjustment, once I apply the mask, I can fine tune it. Okay. All right. So I have my mask. I'm going to get a very large, okay, soft round brush. Opacity, all right, opacity is at 100, all right, and I want black as my foreground color, All right, so X toggles, and I'm just going to kind of like, I'm dabbing, tap, 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 tap. All right, just the center area. There we go. Okay, and if it's too much, let's go back to that. If it's too much, like, you know, we can come back to our curves adjustment, and we can adjust this to however we want. All right, so we have our black point and we have our white point. Okay, and that's all I need to manipulate. I don't need to worry about anything else. Okay, this is my all my highlights. All right, see how just the highlights are kind of darkening up. Okay, so I can control, I'm looking at this corner, right over here. I'm looking at this corner. Okay, I want to make sure that's just a hint of darkness. And then this one is kind of everything else, but because they're connected, remember, they're connected linearly. All right, they're going to have effect on each other. Okay, and that looks pretty darn good. All right, so without with, without with. Okay, and now that looks pretty darn good. Okay, make sense what I just did on that one? Okay,
It looks good, Duck.
all right.
Not bad for the birds being a quarter of a mile away.
Oh, I know, huh? And you took that with your 50 millimeter lens, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Last minute questions, comments, concerns.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
No problem. Anybody else?
You know, as I was watching you start that and looking at those guy on the left, his feet, I thought for a minute you would just leave the other feet but cover up that one that was sticking off in the air.
Oh, yeah.
But that would require, is that cheating if you like you paint, because you'd have to like paint over with clone tool or something, right? To like bring the branches over it or the pine needles?
You know what? If it bugs you, fix it. It's
okay.
you know, it really, it's there are no hard rules.
And nobody's going to know except for you.
Yep.
Exactly. Yes, you're right. You know?
I mean, the general public or whoever sees this has no clue in there how that bird might have just landed on there and had his foot up in the air.
Yep.
As he was coming down or something. I mean, there's so many variables that we just have to make it pleasing to ourselves. And what do we have to do?
Yep.
We do it.
Yep. But that said, all right, there are certain things that you have to anticipate. What is your audience? What are the questions your audience going to ask? Okay. And, you know, you have to be cognizant of that and say, okay, looking at what I've done here, they're probably going to ask this. Okay. Does the image give them an answer to that question? All right. And if the answer is no, then, you know, you might want to reconsider the way you're handling a certain edit.
Yep.
You know? Okay. Bob, any questions? I'm putting him on the spot.
No, I had to turn my microphone on.
Yeah.
No, just learned a lot of idiosyncrasies that I can do
Yeah.
with not just combining of the pictures, but just the layers.
Yeah. And that's why I mention it, because layers can be very, very tricky. I remember when I was first starting out, there were some times where, and I wish I could just pop off an example, but I would be trying to do something and I like get so aggravated because no matter what, I'm not getting the results I wanted. And it's because my layer stack was just wrong, you know? And it's amazing how you don't think that one layer on top of the other, you know, when the effect is very obvious, you can see it, but sometimes the effect isn't obvious and it's like something's messing with this and I can't figure it out, you know, until and you can turn on and turn off layers and it says, okay, it's this is affecting it, but I don't know how to fix it.
That's
Switching the
that's when I
stacks.
leave it alone. That's when I leave it alone and come back later. And
Yeah.
it's so obvious that how can you be so stupid? You fought it for a half
Well,
hour.
yeah, you
You
know,
don't know
it's
what's going
we
on.
yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there. We've had those dull moments. So, all right, cool. Uh, Bill, Mark, any last minute questions, comments, concerns?
Nothing
good?
that I can think of.
No, it looks good, Doc.
I like the way you do the vignette. That's I have to remember
Yeah.
that.
Well, I love vignettes. I put a vignette on everything, you know, but it's got to be
There-
subtle. It's got to be subtle.
Subtle, and it
Right?
draws
Yeah.
your eye to where you
Yeah.
want. It stops it from going way off the page.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that technique too. I've been taking things into the camera raw filter, and I know that's the long way.
Well, the one thing, um, even with Lightroom has a vignette function, okay, and there are times where that works. All right, I keep it to a very low power, but being able to use a mask, and I do this with Lightroom all the time. I have a vignette mask preset. Okay. That allows me to basically, let's see, let me just do this. All right. I'm going to give this, let me give this a color. All right. And I'm going to tone down just so you guys can see it. That's the purpose. All right. So this oval here, obviously the edges would not be crisp and clean. They diffuse outward. Okay. But the thing about having a vignette made by circular mask, like in Lightroom, or the way I did it here with a soft round brush, is that your vignette doesn't have to go from corner to corner like this.
Run around
Okay.
the center. It doesn't the center
And
doesn't have to be the picture with the vignette.
right.
You can move the
And
vignette over
yes,
to the left or right or up or down. Yeah.
exactly. You can have a vignette that's like this. Okay. A lot of times I might even cant it a little bit. All right. Depending on, you know, the flow of my subject. Okay. I
The
could
way the
have a
light's
vignette
coming
like
through.
this. All right. That just, it really draws you in and really subdues everything else that's non-essential. Because, like, for example, in this particular image, what's the important part? It's the two birds. The branches, they're a supporting character, you know, especially the one that they're both sitting on. All right. But the one overhead, well, that's already darkened by you know, default. But all the pine needles on the sides, they don't need to be vying for your attention. All right. That's all noise. That's all texture. That's all inconsequential to the main story. So push them back a little bit. Don't make them compete for the eye. And this is a great way of doing it. Okay. Delete. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's it. I want to thank Alan for bailing me out. Because I literally, I'm driving home. I was up in the Hartford area, an hour and a half away, and I'm driving like watching the clock. Oh, wow, we got another accident, slowing traffic down. It's pushing me. I was here at 6:20. So I had no way to prepare anything.
Hey,
So
Doc,
thank you. What?
you could, because I'm in Plainville, you could have conducted the class from my place.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I appreciate that.
If that ever
I
happens
have,
again, let me know.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's not like I'm always out on the road. I try to avoid taking jobs on Mondays. So,
Hey, I was in your neighborhood a couple weeks ago and I attended at your place.
oh yeah,
Yeah, remember? I was in Shelton to do
oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I was in your studio.
Yes, 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 yes. So, um, okay. Anyway, don't forget, I got those workshops coming up. I'll start posting them to the Facebook group. So if you can help me get the word out, those of you who are in the camera clubs like Bill, let your members know. Okay. And we'll see you all next Monday.
Have a good one, Doug.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Okay.
Thanks,
Always a
Doug.
pleasure.
Have a
You
good
guys,
one.
you guys be safe.
Thank you for watching Learning Photography with Duck. Brought to you in association with Milford Photo, your local full-service camera store. Located in downtown Milford, Connecticut, Milford Photo offers you a personalized shopping experience. From the latest camera gear to printing and framing services. And, of course, educational workshops to teach you the finer aspects of photography. Don't forget to tell them Duck sent you.